Okay, looks like we're back. It's still the same issue. Again, if you want to send me a text, you can go to my YouTube. It's at the bottom of the page. It's Walt Blackman on my YouTube. You can send me a text there, or you can put, if you want to put it up on my Facebook, you are able to do that, but I won't see it here. I'll have to switch over and look for it there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to be mindful of people's time. It's important to be able to do that. Again, if you missed the first part, want to talk about the legislative, what's going on in the district. Um, we don't often get to do this too much because we've been pretty busy in the session. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to put this out and folks are able to see this as we move forward. Again, we're going to wait for some folks to get on here so they can view this. If you want to send me a text message, all you need to do is go to my YouTube, my TikTok, or my X. I will see if I can make sure I can get that up. I can follow that for you. I just want to make sure that I can view your information. So looks like we got some folks that are coming on right now. Welcome, welcome in. And again, today we're going to be talking about the end of session. I'm going to go through it fairly quick. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot to unpack. I am going to be doing a more comprehensive report tomorrow, and Florence. I will. That should be up on my Twitter right now of the time and location where I will be able to put this up at. Um, I want folks to understand it is not a political event. It is a legislative update. It will be in front of the city council, and because we have the open meeting laws, I'm sure that folks will let you go in there and observe. And then, if you are in the area, I would encourage you to come by and ask questions as it pertains to you. And let me go ahead and get started again. Um, let's do this for you really quickly. And see, I don't want to make this darn thing boring because it's a lot. But I'll just go through it briefly, so folks can get a kind of an idea of what's going on at the state. So again, we have just finished with the session. It is a possibility we'll go back this week for a special session concerning the ESA. I'll be more to talk about that later. So this is the end of session a session report. Not going to go through everything. However, I'm just going to give you an overview, give you a profile of LD7, some of the leadership, legislative accomplishments, a budget and tax stuff, voting record methodology, and I'm kind of looking ahead. So again, I'm not going to go through a lot of this. Don't want to bore you with some of this. And we'll be able to move forward on this. This is a message from me. Um, I'm not going to read it to you because I don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. Want to make sure that you can kind of see what I want to do. In 2026, the legislative performance, just a snapshot really quickly. We've had, so this chart right here is actually what I have done. So they're all the time. 100% of the time, bills introduced 95. Prime sponsored bill was 45, and roll call votes that I took was 1,000. and 82, which gave me an average of 98.5, as you see. So at work all the time. My committee hearings, a lot of you all were there, or I broadcasted it. Some of the session highlights, we started in January 2026. As you know, went all the way to April. We have Sine died. Budget is passed already. Some of the things that we were focusing on was physical stability. And February, see, these themes are the majority themes that the House Republicans actually made sure that we were able to hit these target points. Um, for example, in February, concentrated on public safety. In March, infrastructure, water, final passages of the election integrity measures, tax relief packages, and so on and so forth. And then we adjourned on in May, and we got done with the budget. So if we look at District 7 versus the session, I sponsored, Prime sponsored 45, and I was actually above the session average. That means really going to work for you all, making sure that we were able to hit the push points of the district, and just ensuring that everything that we needed in the district in rural Arizona, I was able to touch on. The profiles of representation, we look at the legislative district. It is a vast district if you haven't known. So we are talking about 38,000, a correction. We have 240,000 um, folks in our district. Our district is almost as big as I was told Delaware or something like that. Some of the priorities that I concentrated on was water, forestry, and broadband, and economic stability. A deep dive on the demographic. If we take a look at this, we have a high percent of 55 plus in our district. We are medium income, and we have our demographic shifts in Pinell because of the show of the growth there. If you look at the bottom slide down there, household economic distribution, we look across the board. We are 30%. We have 30% of our residents here in LD7 making over 100 grand, and we have a higher percent making under between 50 and 100 grand. So the indicators of growth stability, our baseline growth workforce participation is 58.2%. Our actual is 61.4. It's a significant improvement from manufacturing hubs. I was part of that, being part of the international committee going overseas, bringing jobs into the district and also into the state. Weekly wages for 24, if you see, was $980. It actually went up to about $1,200, and it was a shift because of the higher skilled roles that we were able to grow here in the district. We had about 680 new businesses, small businesses starts, and that is a lot of that had to do with the tax package that we brought forward. And we're talking about unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate actually was 3.9, and we were outperforming in rural communities. We do have a high rate of that. We take a look at Coconino, the gateway to the northern resources. So the population center. So it has a high expensive area. The key employers are NAU, healthcare systems, and forestry service. And some of the primary policy drivers which is consistent across the district, our fire prevention, and so on and so forth. My key accomplishment was securing state matching funds for the regional transportation and watershed protection projects. I was instrumental in that and being able to protect our water in the Coconino area. We're talking about Gila, the mining and recreational heartland. So, the population centers in that district, Gila, is, as you know, Globe Basin, Miami. They serve as the primary population. As you also know, there was a catastrophic weather damaging scenario, not scenario, but actual event that went on last summer. And we had significant loss of life in business and housing. And some of that went down, would kind of push down into Pinal County. Some of the key employers in that district are copper mining, as you can see. Also, there's a lot of employment opportunities, and the primary policy drivers that I look for when I am looking to do policy in that part of the district is the mining industry and the regulatory stability. The key accomplishments, as you can see on the bottom, was able to do that, and also we were able to get relief from the Gila County flood relief, and that Gila County flood relief package was signed by the governor, and in 90 days, the mayors of Miami, Globe, and other areas around there will be able to get those dollars. They have matched the federal government, and contrary to what some folks would say, they did meet their requirement to be able to do that, and we're able to take care of some people down here in Gila County. We take a look at Navajo County, and the population centers are Show Low, Pine Top, Lakeside, and Winslow. Not leaving out Snowflake and Taylor, but when we're talking about the population as a whole, those are some of the bigger areas. Key employer for here, of course, the schools, university, government services, and the primary policy drivers that I concentrated on was water adjudication rights and energy transition support workforces. The accomplishments that I was able to get through legislation and policy was the appropriation of county water infrastructures and veteran service outreach in these areas. When we take a look at Pinel's kind of growing. If you have not been able to follow that, Pinel has some large infrastructure projects that were brought over from Taiwan, Costa Rica, and also Japan. We were able to bring in $430 million worth of a new tax base from some of those facilities that have gone into Pinal County. A lot of those tax dollars are a lot of those these infrastructure jobs that was able to take part in brought in a significant amount of money into Pinal County, and that includes Apache Junction, Florence, Gold Canyon, those areas in and around Pinal County. So, though Pinal County and or actually all the counties, they really didn't. Really didn't wasn't able to get much other than the flood relief into Globe in Miami. There are a lot of tax revenue base opportunities that are going into those areas. As you know, Pinal bumps up against Maricopa and Casa Grande, and a lot of the logistical centers, the correctional centers, the automotive manufacturing, all those dollars go into that area. So the key accomplishments for that was landmark funding for I-10 widening and local corridor improvements. Um, to ease the congestion in that area. So I'm excited about that. Some of the folks are going to be able to get to work out there. They're increasing or expanding the semiconductor, adding more engineers. We were able to open up a student exchange in between Arizona and Taiwan to send our kids to Taiwan to study engineering, come back to the States, use that engineering degree to be able to work at the semiconductor. And a lot of those kids will be making up to six figures. So I'm excited about that. And we'll continue to keep you posted on that. If we look at the veteran profile right now, total veterans in LD7 is over about 22,000, focused on healthcare reduction wait times with the VA. There was a tax credit for small businesses for hiring veterans was part of that legislation that was co-sponsored that particular bill. Legislative focus was the veterans benefits protection as a core priority. So if you haven't heard, I was co-sponsor of a bill that signed into law was the veterans property tax. Veterans property tax is waived based on the veteran's disability. For example, if a veteran is rated from the VA at 50%, that veteran gets a 50% tax reduction in their property tax. The second significant step in that is that veterans will not have an income tax or an income cap on this program when they're using their property tax. So, if you're a veteran out there in Arizona and in LD7 and you are disabled in 90 days, please go over to your recorder's office, or not your recorder's office, your county clerk's office. Talk to your property tax person and update your information so you can get that waiver. Some people don't like that, but I will tell you, I am a veteran myself, and it's important that we take care of our veterans. By doing this, we're going to be able to attract more veterans into Arizona, and we'll start to look more veteran friendly like Texas. We look at the educational profile and investing in Arizona's next generation, key indicators, K through 12 pupil spending. We increased that to 12%. CTE's participation rate this past year was 85%. A lot of folks reached out to my office, and that was something that they wanted us to drill down on. So we were able to increase that. Teacher retention, we were achieving a 90% retention goal. This is in our area and in Arizona. And in broadband in schools, we're able in LD7, we were able to connect to high speed fiber up to 100%. And then actually, we're talking about ESA school choice. A lot of folks know I'm a strong supporter of ESA, and then 100% of educational options to give parents options to ensure that their kids are able to go to school and as necessary. So again, I don't want to I know there's a lot in here, and I want to make sure that I can get you all this. I don't want to bore you with a lot of this stuff because it some folks you know, I just don't want to bore a lot of people with that. I want to make sure that uh we can on our board. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put that um this this information on my webpage, and you can also go to let's see, you can also go to my Twitter, and you'll be able to get that link when I get it uploaded. Okay. So one other thing I just want to come across, a lot of folks I want to talk about the my legislative record really quickly, and then we'll see if we have some questions. And again, my darn, we don't really. It's hard to get the questions to you. Let's go here and do this. So, a lot of times, folks will say they don't like a representative's voting record. And a lot of times, folks have not even looked into that voting record other than what someone has told them on Facebook or what have you. I will tell you and I will share with you how the voting works and how my data where my data comes from, and I'll have links at the bottom at the end of this slide. My data comes straight from the source, straight from um, straight from yeah, the horse's mouth, and that is the clerk's office, and so on and so forth. My dashboard this year is a high level performance indicators. We had a total of 1,082 votes, 977 ayes and 77 nays, and 28 not voting. That's 2% that were not vote. That is not mine. That is the caucus as a whole, the combined COW, committee of the whole, as a whole. If we look at the voting distribution rate, 93, as I've already said all that, and you can actually get more of that later. So for me as your legislator, I was present 76 out of 77 days. I had one excused absence, and I was at work all of the time. If you look at my scorecard and how it differs from typical legislative grades, what how we figure how we get our scores or how my scores are done, I actually what it is, I actually uh, get all the data, all the bills, all the votes, all everything, the everything. I don't just pick a few bills to make my score look good. I don't do that. What I do is I get everything to make sure that people have a complete, comprehensive, transparent indicator of how I vote. A lot of times you will see these mailers that come in and they will say person has 100% conservative voting record, but they'll only actually show or actually grade them on probably a series of bills of the policies that they are interested in. Sometimes that is a couple of bills, sometimes that is 10 bills. I've showed you how many bills. Let me go back to this. How many bills that were cast, as you can see right here, and the total roll call votes. Every single bill that I voted on is every single bill that I was graded on, and that's how that works. That's how that should work. And sometimes people don't really do that. Okay, so if you look at some of the comprehensive and fully documented, all these. This is where this stuff came from. Okay, um, where the information came from: independent reviewers, every tractable and official legislative record. You can go by there, bill by bill, audit trail. This is where you can go find uh, my day to day voting. And again, a lot of folks, they won't show their whole voting. Okay. How this information was verified, really easy. Arizona House post session summary. That'll be up on the website. Official roll call votes. You'll be able to see that. House journals, bill status inquiries, committee minutes and agendas, so on and so forth. posting sheets, final bill histories, committee vote records. These are all official documents. Okay. So my bill breakdown, I sponsored 45 bills, co-sponsored around 50 of them, all Republican bills. And if we look at those ones that I sponsored, the prime bills, I believe I had about 4 or 5 signed into law. 95 of those total bills that uh, that I was concentrating on was the high technical proficiency, active legislation engagement, so on and so forth. If we look at the votes selection criteria, um, where how we were able to get my score was through the calculated method, the correct examples and methodology and explanation. Each eligible vote was reviewed against official house call records. Again, all this will be uh, on my website. We look at this. This is actual. So when we say align with the caucus, align with the Republican caucus, that means that no, uh, I voted with the caucus just about all the time, pretty much. On some of these major bills, when we're talking about ESAs, Um, the you can look at the roll call vote, you can look at the date, you can look at the House Journal, the page number, and you can see how I align with those votes. Tax relief package, so on and so forth. So for verification of a lot of this stuff, as you can see, the accuracy assurance is about 95% alignments. And again, I'm not going to go too much into detail on that. You'll be able to see that. All this is official. So the roll call voting records are official, the attendance data, bill sponsorships, committee participation, and post session summary. All that is available. And then what is the independent analysis? The Republican alignment percentage, independently calculated, the policy category, so on and so forth. I know this is kind of like plucking chickens out. So this is the so based on all that information that I've shown you, where the data comes from, that it is verifiable data. This is my scorecard in alignment with the Republican caucus. So you can see fiscal responsibility 98, tax policy 99, so on and so forth, border security, education, school choice. You can see that. So when folks say that they don't like my voting record, I encourage you to look up my votes and go to the source. Facebook, Twitter is not the source. Okay. That is not the source. All right. Um, how the independent verified, they verified my votes step by step. Roll call votes, verified caucus majority positions, single vote alignments. All this is from the source, not from Facebook. My alignment, as you can see, election integrity, constitutional rights demonstrated a strong alignment at 97%. Public safety, education, school choice, a perfect 100% alignment. Fiscal responsibility leads in total vote count with 42 subsistence votes. So I don't know where people get where Walt Blackman is, you don't like the votes when I vote. My alignment is at 98% with the Republican caucus, and it's in the areas that mean the most for Arizona's public safety, border, election and security, election integrity, excuse me, constitutional rights, border security, fiscal responsibility, and I led 42 of those votes and substance votes. So I don't know where you're getting your information from. However, I got my information from the source, and that's the data, the where all this stuff comes from. Policy category mapping and build classification justification framework. That's we kind of looked at that. I took 28 votes in public safety. We were talking about fiscal responsibility, 42 votes, border security, so on and so forth. And all this will be available on my website. We look at the Republican caucus alignment calculated using transparent methodology, comparing each eligible vote to the majority position of House Republicans. And how did we do that? Well, number one, repredictability of equation. This is how they came up with the numbers. Overall alignment percentage, and they get the math and so on and so forth. They're able to get that and do that. All right. Some of the Republican alignment, the caucus, you'll see it says 89.2. That's for 215 aligned votes across the 241. Conservative grade A plus, and number USA score is 93.10. So there are different scores that factor into this. Different scores. So when we're talking about some of the other policies in here, when we're talking about the 212 versus the 241, you see a correction, the 215 aligned votes of 241 total scores of 100. That day off or that day that I miss, it brings your score down a little bit. You can also find this stuff and verify my voting record at the Arizona House Legislator member profile. I put the address there, roll call votes, House Journal archives, House video archives, session log, committee minutes, all that place. All right. Committee participation and legislative engagement matrix. We could look at the committee votes and where I participated at. Judiciary Committee. That was my first year. And the reason why it'll say Judiciary Committee, because I was able to, when the judicial chair released some of his bills, they came over to my committee, and that's where you get that 18 from. We've already seen that. Let's go to this right here. We look at my performance. You see that policy area consistency, 89%. However, the voting participation rate is 98. All right. So the executive summary and all this, the total 98.7 Republican caucus alignment, 100% alignment on public safety, education, 97% alignment on education or election integrity, constitutional rights, so on and so forth. That will be, I will make sure that that gets in the, let me see. I will make sure that gets into on my website. So, what time is it? It's 8:33. I'll caught up anyway. Listen, everybody. Whenever you do the legislative update, it gets kind of boring at times, and I got it. Folks really don't want to deal with it too much. If you want the complete version, it'll be on my website. You'll be able to go there, go to Vote Walt B. You can look at it. pull up the references, click on the references. It'll go where you can find the voting. It'll take you straight to the data, how they got the numbers, so on and so forth. Reason why I'm telling folks this is to please make sure that you do not just take somebody's word for it or just look at a flyer. You want to make sure that um, you get it from the source. Everybody, I'm Walt Blackman. We're going to go ahead and cut out of here. What I'm going to do is try to jump over to my Facebook and kind of talk a little bit about there. I know folks weren't able to really text back and forth on this. So we're going to actually jump on over there. Everybody take care. God bless. Remember to get out and vote. Remember, it is your constitutional responsibility, your civic responsibility to make sure you get out there and vote. And everybody take care. This is Walt Blackman. I will see you next time.